First of all, there's glitter everywhere, and if you see glitter on my face, it's not intentional. I'm going to be doing a makeup tutorial for my sister Anna, and hopefully this teaches you a little bit about the different techniques that you can use for your own face. Before this video, I put on some lip balm. I went through my skincare routine. The main thing is you just want to make sure that you start out with a clean face. I think we're just going to do a very basic, natural kind of eye. I'm going to start with some eye primer. This is Benefit Lemonade eye primer. Looks like this. I'm just going to do this with my fingers. I don't put too much. If you put too much, it'll actually do the exact thing it's trying to prevent, which is making your eyeshadow crease throughout the day. And I'm going to be showing you what products I use just for the sake of more information, but there's no reason you should go out and buy this if you don't have it. You probably already have an eye primer. I know I tried to get Anna to buy an eye primer, but I don't think she did. So now we're going to start with our eyeshadow. So you want to pick a lid shade, a crease shade, a highlight shade at the very least. The crease shade is going to give you some definition. The lid shade is going to be a little bit shimmery usually. You don't have to. The highlight shade can be matte or shimmery. I like to usually go matte for my brow bone, and then I do a little bit of shimmer on the inner corner. So you can also do a base shade. You have to get to know the eyeshadows that you have, because some of them work well this way, because the base shade kind of makes it easier to blend, but some of them actually make it worse because it kind of dulls the color. So it depends on what formula you're working with. I'm using this little MAC quad. This is Bisque. This is Arena, this is Swiss Chocolate, and this is Paradisco, but we're not using that today. So I'm going to take some Bisque, which is that really light beige shade. It's kind of a warm tone, and it basically matches my skin. I'm going to take my Zoeva Classic Shader 232. It's just a flat shader brush. It's good for packing on color, because you're just trying to pack color all over your lid. If you have this, go ahead and use it. If you don't, you've got to have something to put it on there. Just put it on with the little foam things that come with your eyeshadow. It doesn't matter. Those foam things, people knock them, but sponges actually work very well for packing on color. They're not very good for blending most of the time, but especially I've heard ColourPop shadows, which are kind of a cream, and stuff like that, where the formula is a little bit wetter, sponges can work really nice. And I like to just kind of come over here. I'm using a brightening primer, that Lemonade. It's got a yellow tone to it. That probably won't work for everyone, but I have yellow undertones in my skin, so I like it. But I just don't want that showing, so I'm covering it with Bisque, and again, it doesn't matter exactly where it ends up because it's basically my skin color. So I'm going to go in with Arena, which was this one. They call it beige on the MAC website, but I think it's like really peachy. I mean, I don't know if there's even any difference. It's peach, just a gimmicky word to make you think like you need more eyeshadows, because I don't have something called peach, I just have something called beige. So I'm going to pick up a lot off of there, because now we're packing it straight over that other color. In my experience, MAC shadows are actually quite dry. Do you see how the color's not going on super intense because I put that Bisque shade under it? I know with beginners, blending is a big concern, so I wanted to do it the way you probably want to start out doing it. I did not mean to make this all MAC, but I'm going to use my MAC 217 crease brush, and I'm going to add my crease color, which is this Lorac Caramel shade. I say caramel, but this has an A in it. I don't know if that is a regional thing, but it makes me kind of uncomfortable to say caramel. It sounds pretentious to me. But anyway, I'm taking a little bit of that. This one has a lot of kick up, which means that it's very pigmented in my experience. Way more than the MAC one. So MAC is good for blending. Lorac at least this single that I have. I think I've actually heard Lorac is hit or miss, but this shade you have to be a little more careful with. So I loaded it up. I loaded up my brush with Macarena, but I just tapped a little bit on for just like this, and then tapped off the excess because you can go crazy with this caramel color. So this is my crease shade, and I just chose a matte shade that's a little bit darker than the shade I used on my lid. I start by patting it in the corner right here. I just try to go straight into the crease and then take it up, and then as I go, come all the way in just a little bit when there's just a little bit left. So you just want most of your color to be on the edge, on the outer corner right there. I have really deep creases, so I let it blend out pretty far. If you don't have as deep of creases, you might be more careful, but I'm kind of sloppy because when my eyes are open, it all disappears. Go back into Bisque. Since it's pretty light, we can be a little bit more thorough about putting that color on, so that it blends into the Lorac caramel shade. I always raise my eyebrows when I do this because my crease just everything disappears. Otherwise, I need to be able to see it. But it's good if you have an eye shape like that. You want to once in a while kind of so you can see what it looks like. Just kind of going back and forth with those colors to build up to the intensity that I want while keeping it blended. I'm actually going to take a moment to dust off the enormous amount of fallout I got from that shade. Oh my gosh. I have this stippling brush that, like, I don't really want to recommend. It's a number 7 stippling brush because I bought it to use on my face and ended up just using it for this because this turned it out to be its most useful. And I'm taking MAC Swiss Chocolate, which is a medium warm brown. It's not even that dark, but I have muted undertones, so I like to use medium to dark for my darkest shade. This brush that I'm using is going to be this Real Techniques crease brush, and this one is a lot more dense than my MAC 217. If you look at these side by side, you can see that this one, it's a lot better for just blending. So I'm just taking that pointed part and picking up some color. And I'm aiming for the outer part of the mobile lid. I'm not aiming straight into the crease because I don't want too much of it to go on this part up here, because I'm just trying to create some dimension. As I run out of product on the brush, I'm coming up just to blend it out, but I'm not going past the middle of the lid. And when I'm blending, I'm also taking it up into the crease off of the lid, off of the mobile lid. This Real Techniques brush is pretty good for blending the crease. I really like it, actually. Okay, I wanted to tell stories while I was doing this too. I'm in Galway, Ireland right now. I'm from California, which is where Anna's going to be following this tutorial later, and I'm going to be moving back home soon. But right now we're traveling, and for Christmas Eve, Nick and I met up with some other foreigners here who were all from different places. No one else was from the US, but he has some coworkers who are from Spain and Brazil, and they had friends as well, so who didn't have family in Galway for Christmas, so we all met up at this girl Yasmin's house, and it was really nice. And also, they told me, so Nick is from Seattle and I'm from California, and I didn't realize this, but apparently I have a super American accent and he doesn't, according to a bunch of people from all kinds of different places. So I don't know what to think about that, maybe because California is further south, like technically it's closer to Texas, I guess. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that now. I feel like that is pretty blended out. I'm gonna just wipe off any invisible fallout that might be there. And now I'm gonna do a wing, and I'm doing this because I want to show you how to do it for somebody who doesn't have almond eyes, which I feel like everybody does for some reason that makes these videos, because they just go whoop and it's perfect. But that doesn't work for everybody. I have round, close set eyes, and that's gonna affect the way I do this. So, but I'm gonna draw my line. So I started from about a third of the way from the inner corner. That's gonna give me the illusion of more upturned and almond-shaped eyes. Can you imagine an imaginary line? Swoop right up to the end of my eyebrow right there. That's gonna be the shape we want to do for the wing. So you can see that goes quite high. You don't want to come straight out like the person with almond-shaped eyes would. You want to follow the shape of your eyes, and since my eyes are round, my lower lid has like a happy face, and my eyebrows are also pretty short. So I'm keeping my eyebrows raised so that we can see what I'm doing. But now I'm going to start in my crease right here, and I'm going to connect it. We're making a trapezoid. And then I'm going to do a parallel line that matches this one right here, straight down to connect that line. I'm using Givenchy brown liquid eyeliner. I don't even know what this product is called, but just use whatever you have. I gotta stop talking so that I can do this. Okay, I just told you it was gonna be a parallel, and then I like swooped it in. But if you are having trouble with it, that's the basic shape you want to make. So parallel line, and then kind of round it out to connect with the first line that we did. I try to keep this part pretty thin because I have very little visible mobile lid space when my eyes are open, and I don't want to lose all of that work that I did on my eyeshadow. Oh my gosh. Alright, so I did both sides. Hopefully when my eyes are closed you can see that I have this kind of airplane wing shape going on. And it's a wing. One of the main reasons why we didn't do our face yet is we're going to take a Q-tip and some micellar water or makeup remover, whatever you have that you usually use to remove your makeup, and we're going to get the Q-tip wet with your makeup remover, and then we're going to go along just like we did with the brush and take away anything that is down there, and we're going to follow the wing up to the eyebrow just like that, and you can kind of use your finger to blend. I like it to be kind of sharp following all the way up, but I don't want like a trace of eyeliner going up, so I kind of just pat it away. It's better. It's about time I covered up my... I have a sponge. I don't buy the $20 beauty blenders. I just use the drugstore sponge because I think it works just fine. And I wetted it before I started this, so mine is ready to go, but make sure that you've wetted yours like just a little bit damp. You don't want it to be like really wet or anything. And I'm gonna use this. This is a tinted moisturizer by Stila. It has SPF 15 in it, and I like that it makes me look kind of dewy, which is a buzzword right now. If you can see what I'm doing, I'm just putting a little bit of product on my sponge and then tapping it everywhere to distribute all over my face. my camera cut out, so you missed a whole step that I did. I just put on my Jane Iredale powder foundation on just the areas that I needed it, so basically around my nose, which gets red, and also this area right here. The next thing that I'm going to do is contouring. I'm going to use this Inglot Duo, so I'm going to use this Zoeva Luxe face paint. That sounds nice. I'm just going to cake this on with my Luxe face paint brush. And it looks really deep at first. I go all the way back to my ear, and then I blend it out. I don't go all the way to my mouth. And for this part, this is the deepest part, right? And I'm blending it up. You want to be drawing a line from the top of your ear to the corner of your mouth right there, and stopping about half or 2/3 of the way. But this brush to me is more about packing the color on, and then I want to blend it later. So I have just been putting it kind of in this hollow right here along the side of my face and in right there. You can put it on the sides of your nose if you want to, and kind of right there, but for the shape of my nose I don't like to do that. I have kind of a thin nose as it is, so it just looks kind of odd to me. But I have kind of a round face, so I like to do this to give it some more dimension, especially because we just took it all away with our foundation. What did I tell you? There's glitter on my contour brush. So I'm just going to put a little bit down here. You have to be careful with this because it can look good when you're putting it on, and then you look at yourself later in the day in a different light and there's a line right here. So you want to really make sure you're not putting very much and you're blending it out. You're kind of just deepening the natural shadows that you already have. Now that I have applied it, I just want to go over it. I just use the same brush that I did for my powder foundation because it's good for blending all over my face in general, and I don't see the point of buying a ton of different brushes when you can just wash them off. I'm going to put just a tiny bit of shimmery bronzer. This is the Tarte Park Avenue Princess, and I am once again just going to use my blending brush because I don't care. And I'm just going to put it right here on my cheekbones. So next I'm going to be applying blush, and I'm just going to use this little Clinique sample. It has the word blush in it, so it's called the Blushing Blush Powder Blush in Pink Love. But it looks like very purpley. So I'm choosing that because I want to wear my Clinique Pink Spice. As you can see, it's kind of like the same purpley, bluey undertones to this blush, and I like to make sure that I'm coordinating those colors so that they bring each other out. I have this Becca highlighting brush, and it has this angle to it that I like. It's really soft. So I'm just going to apply that. I'm not going to put too much. I'm just going to I'm going to try to make that last for my whole face. And I put a little bit up around in the same indentation that I used where I applied the contour, and I'm just putting it just slightly higher than I put the contour, but almost in the same spot. And I also blend my blush out a little bit. I do this kind of triangle because when I blush, my skin flushes all along this this space right here. So we got our lip and our blush on. Now we're going to take Becca Champagne Pop, which is a peachy gold highlight, and we're going to just add that to the inner corners of our eyes. I realized that I told you in the beginning of the video that there was glitter everywhere, and then I didn't even tell you why. That's because we had glittery wrapping paper for Christmas. Nick actually made this this cutout Christmas tree out of the wrapping paper and hung it on our wall because we didn't have a real one. We're traveling right now, so we can't really be investing in that sort of thing, but he went to that trouble. I thought it was really cool, but then ever since then we've been finding glitter in every nook and cranny. I just did like a C shape around it. I don't put very much. I know people like to load it on, but I just kind of tap a little bit on. I like to put on my Cupid's bow. put a little bit kind of just wherever I see natural highlights, I just accentuate it with this. Just barely anything. Just so if I go out into the light, there's like just this little shimmer. And we're going to go back to our crease shade, which was Lorac Caramel. And we're going to take our, any kind of like small pointed brush will work. I'm using the Real Techniques one that I was using before. And I'm just going to drag it along right here just to finish it off. Okay, and then I'm going to take a pencil brush. That was the same brush. Oh, I didn't actually mention it while I was using it. I used my Sephora Pro pencil brush. I'm using Swiss Chocolate, my darker shade. And I'm just doing the outer half. I just want to create a little bit of dimension and just finish it off there. I have this terrible little brow brush, and then I have this MAC Longwear Paint Pot in Quite Natural. Brush your brows upward. I have like really light brows that I just like to define by creating a line at the bottom, and then in a minute I'll just finish it up at the top, kind of to make the arch more pronounced and blend it in. And that's all I really need. After this, I'm gonna go meet Nick in a cafe, because we've been going to cafes pretty regularly, because for both of us it makes us more productive. I think home feels like a place to relax, so we don't feel as motivated to get things done while we're here. So we just take our laptops to a cafe, and that's like work mode. He's doing math homework, but when I get there, we're gonna plan our trip to Belfast, which is our next trip after Rome. Instead of getting each other Christmas presents this year, we put that money into a trip to Italy. So we're gonna be going to Italy in just a few days, actually. And on our way back, we're gonna go to Belfast. If you wanna create a uniform shape by only putting the product in the thin parts. Alright, the last thing is mascara, and then we're all done. We're finally done. We're done. And that was L'Oreal Telescopic, which is my favorite. And with that, we're done. We're ready to go. Alright. So this is what we got. I'm in the cafe now with this guy. I just want to do a quick outro so you can see what the whole thing came out to. Well, it's pretty simple, everyday kind of thing. So thanks for watching. Bye. Okay, I thought I was done filming, but I just wanted to show you what Galway looks like at night right after Christmas. I thought it was even better before there was a Christmas market with a Ferris wheel. Ireland goes all out. We're in Eyre Square. Happy holidays.